After the Badge, Part 2. Back at the precinct, 11:17 p.m. The hum of the old desktop filled the room, punctuated by the soft click of keys as Ash inserted the flash drive into the secure system. They both stared at the monitor, tension coiled tight between them, shoulders nearly brushing. Lena crossed her arms. "You think this is going to be a snuff video or something just as fucked?" Ash didn't answer right away. "Only one way to find out." The screen blinked, then loaded a single folder. Private journal entries. Time-stamped, encrypted audio files, dozens of them. The last one, 2 days before Marissa Hale was murdered. Lena leaned in. She was documenting something. Ash clicked on the final entry. The audio crackled, then a soft voice filled the room. Marissa Hale recording. "If you're listening to this, I guess I didn't make it. I've been looking into a string of shell companies connected to a private security firm. People who are way too comfortable disappearing as evidence. I think I found something big, something they killed to protect. I think someone in law enforcement is helping cover it up. I don't know who to trust anymore. But if you're hearing this, please don't stop digging." Ash's jaw clenched. A dirty cop. Lena's mouth was a thin line. Or someone higher up. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of it all pressing in. Then Ash spoke, voice quiet. "We bring this to the lieutenant. It'll trigger alarms. Whoever's behind this, they'll know we're on to them." Lena turned, her face inches from theirs. "So we don't bring it to the lieutenant?" Ash arched a brow. "You're suggesting we go rogue?" "I'm suggesting we figure out who we can actually trust before we put a target on our backs." Ash's mouth curled into a slow, dangerous grin. "You always did have a thing for breaking the rules." "And you always make it look good," Lena said, reaching up to tug at the collar of Ash's shirt, smoothing it like an excuse to touch. Their eyes locked. For a moment, the case faded. It was just the two of them again, on fire, on edge, and one step away from burning the whole damn building down. Ash's voice dipped, rough and intimate. "You know this means we're alone in this." Lena stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm okay with that, as long as I'm alone with you." Abandoned warehouse, 2:03 a.m., Southside Industrial District. The rain had started on their way over, light at first, then heavy and relentless, slicking the streets and adding a chill in the air that soaked through Ash's jacket. The warehouse loomed ahead, rusted metal and shattered windows, half swallowed by shadows. Ash killed the headlights and coasted to a stop behind a stack of shipping containers. "You sure this is the place?" Lena checked the address again on her phone, screen glowing dim blue in the dark. "Matches the location Marissa mentioned in a second recording. She said someone was meeting here to move the evidence." Ash grabbed a flashlight and their weapon. "Let's find out what they're moving." They slipped inside through a side entrance, the door groaning on its hinges. The interior smelled like damp concrete and dust, the air heavy and stale. Crates were stacked along the walls, some still stamped with customs tags. A makeshift office space sat on a raised platform in the back, lights off, but a faint glow flickered from inside. Voices. Ash froze, motioning for Lena to crouch behind a column. Two figures walked into view through a pane of dirty glass, silhouetted by the low light. One of them wore a uniform. "Son of a bitch," Ash whispered. "That's Detective Rowe." Lena's lips parted slightly in shock. "You're kidding. Rowe's got 20 years on the force." "And apparently zero conscience," Ash muttered. They started to reach for their phone. A clatter echoed from somewhere behind them. Both turned in unison, but too late. A flashlight beam hit them, dead on. "Hey! Move!" Ash grabbed Lena's hand and bolted. Gunfire cracked behind them as they darted between crates. Lena dragged them through a narrow corridor between shelves. "This way!" They ducked into a storage unit, slamming the heavy metal door shut behind them just as more bullets ricocheted off the container's edge. Breathing hard, back to the wall, Ash hissed. "Shit, that was way too close." Lena was right beside them, close enough that their breaths mingled, their chests brushing with each inhale. "Yeah," she said, voice low and steady, "but now we know Rowe's in it." "And now Rowe knows we're in it," Ash muttered. Fuck. Outside footsteps pounded past. Someone shouted for backup. Ash and Lena stayed quiet, barely daring to breathe. The silence stretched taut. And then Lena turned, their faces only inches apart, her eyes wide with adrenaline and something hotter underneath. "That thing you said earlier," she whispered, "about being alone in this?" Ash nodded, throat dry. "We're really a fucking alone now." Ash's lips curved into a slow, wicked grin. "Yeah, but you're kind of hot when we're almost dying." Lena rolled her eyes and pressed closer, her hand sliding up Ash's chest. "You're such a goddamn menace." Ash's voice dropped, teasing and dangerous. "Want to arrest me?" "Maybe later." Ash's apartment, 3:26 a.m. The door shut behind them with a soft click, and they both stood there for a second, soaked, breathless, silent. Rain still pattering against the windows, the low hum of the city muffled by wet streets and a racing pulse that refused to slow. Ash tossed their jacket over a chair, hands braced on the back of it, like they needed something to grip to stay grounded. "We almost didn't make it out of there." "No," Lena said, shrugging off her coat. Her blouse clung to her, damp and translucent, her hair dripping onto the hardwood. "But we did." Ash turned to her, eyes roaming over her rain-slicked skin, the way her chest still rose and fell fast. "You all right?" Lena nodded once, eyes locked on theirs. "You?" Ash hesitated, then honest, quiet. "I didn't like seeing you in the line of fire." Lena stepped closer, slow and deliberate. "And I didn't like hearing gunshots behind us, not knowing if you were still at my back." Her hand came up, fingers ghosting over Ash's jaw. "But you were." "I always will be," Ash said, voice low and rough. The moment snapped tight between them, then it broke. Lena surged forward, her hands fisting in the collar of Ash's shirt, dragging them in for a kiss that was all teeth and desperation, and thank God we're alive. Ash met her just as hungrily, mouth hot and open, their hands slipping under the hem of her shirt, finding skin, needing more. Clothes came off in a trail towards the bedroom. Shirts, holsters, damp jeans. They collapsed onto the bed together, breathless, tangled, mouths still locked, like they couldn't stand the space between them for even a second. Ash rolled her beneath them, lips dragging along Lena's throat. "You drive me fucking insane," they murmured against her skin. Lena arched into them, nails scoring down Ash's back. "Then lose your mind, baby. I've got you." And lose it Ash did. They moved together like it was instinct, mouth and hands and hips finding rhythm, slow at first, reverent almost, then faster, more desperate. Lena's thighs bracketed Ash's waist, her breath catching in a moan as Ash thrust against her, firm and hungry, and right there. Ash's voice broke in a whisper near her ear. "You're all I think about, on the job, off the job, every second." Lena dragged them closer, biting down on her lip, eyes fluttering. "Then take it, take all of it." And Ash did, over and over until Lena was trembling beneath them, eyes glazed and lips parted with soft, shattered sounds. Later, they lay tangled in sheets and sweat, Lena's head on Ash's chest, fingers drawing lazy circles on their stomach. "So," Lena said, voice thick with sleep and satisfaction, "you still think we're alone in this?" Ash smiled, brushing a hand over her hair. "No, not when I've got you." Lena tilted her head up just enough to smirk. "Damn right."